Welcome back to episode 225 of the Guy and Guns podcast. I'm your host, Troy.
And I'm your other host, Doug.
We use this show to talk about God, guns, and the responsible Christian gun owner's interest. On this week's show, we'll be asking you, are you ready for a gunfight?
Uh-oh.
If not, why not? Okay. Firearms Radio Network is our bandwidth sponsor. We thank the guys and gals, and well, I guess it's just guys now that are running. I guess there ever was gals. Squirrel. So we want to thank the Firearms Radio Network. If you've not checked out the shows over there, please do. But go cautiously because some of those guys have sailors' mouths. All right. And
Crossbreed holsters. Hey, you've heard Troy talk about if you're carrying a gun on your person, in your vehicle, or got one next to your bed, Crossbreed Holster makes a holster for you. Check them out. Crossbreedholsters.com. Carry the cross.
I'm carrying the cross.
I am not carrying the cross right this second, but I do have one right here. Handy.
Cool.
My drop slide.
All right. Let's see. This week's Guy and Gun activities, Doug. What have you been up to?
Let's see, the guy's side, of course, I've been doing my Sportsman's Daily Devotional every day. And the gun side, of course, I've been doing my everyday carry. I've been going back and forth to Arkansas. And this is my last trip coming for this coming weekend. And duck season will be over. I know everybody will be happy to hear that, especially my wife. And she'll be happy to have me home.
Ella will be crying though.
All the time. Ella is going to be crying. She's actually, I'll show you.
She's a superstar right now.
She is a superstar. There she is right there. She's making sure she's getting plenty of rest, getting ready to head back out. So, I should have showed my shirt there a minute ago. Woo. There you go.
Carry the cross.
Carry the cross. But let's see, what have we got going on? The last trip we were on, it was a little slow, but hey, we finally got snow on Saturday night. It snowed, the temperature dropped. We got into blind Saturday morning, and it was about 58 degrees at 6 in the morning when we got out there. And when we left at about 2:30, it had dropped to 35 degrees. So big swing in temperature. And then Sunday was actually a pretty good day. We worked a lot of ducks. They got to shoot some ducks, and they got some wall mounters too. They got some pretty ones. So it was a good time. Had a good time. Had a friend of mine out there with me this week. My buddy Scott. We've had him on the show from when we did the episode with him doing the hog hunt, nighttime hog hunts,
and predator hunting.
Yeah, and predator hunting. So we had a good trip. It was nice having him, and his father-in-law was out there with us, and the guys from our hunt club, actually, Steve, came out. So I spent 3 days with us. We had a good time. It was a lot of fun. I didn't fall down in the water. I didn't go swimming. It was close a couple times. The water was up. Again, when Sean and I got out there, we left on Wednesday night, drove all night, went straight to home. Me and him was going to go duck hunting Thursday morning and just go run the dog a little bit and see if we could shoot some ducks, see what's going on. The water had came up where we normally walk in on this little road to go down to the boat. It's about a 50-yard stretch to the boat where it sits in the ditch. It's usually dry. And when we got there, water was over the road when we got in, and we had to put our waders on to go fetch the boat and get it out of the timber. And it was probably waist deep in most places. So when we got to get the boat, so we brought it out, and I get out of the blind to go help pick up ducks and whatever, and I was about that far from the top of my waders, and it was almost ready to go over. So I was glad I had Miss Ella there with me, and Scott had his dog Georgia with us, and between the two of them, they did real good. I only got out of the blind one time to go help fetch ducks, and that was just to guide them because they didn't see them fall. So, hey, she earned her kibbles for the week, and she got an extra bone for the night. So
you could send Scott down to the party room.
Pot brothers. I haven't seen my pot distributor. I shouldn't probably say it like that, but my wannabe pot distributor, I should say. I haven't seen him since that night, since I told him I was a cop in a different state. So he been gone.
He been gone for a while.
He is. I'm pretty sure he's
He
not.
lit out.
I'm pretty sure he's not a listener to the podcast. So let's see what else. It's supposed to be cold out there this week, so that's a good thing. I got my last group of folks coming out. My son-in-law's going to go out. What's that?
I don't know if it's on my end or your end, but it sounded like you froze up.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't think I did. But let's see, what else have I done? Oh, hey, I did order me a new set of sights for my Glock 19. I got talking to our buddy Jared from Student of the Gun, him and Professor Paul. But I was talking to Jared, and I ordered a set of the night vision sights to go on my Glock 19. And Jared was kind enough to send me some videos on how to do the install and the toolkit that I needed to go ahead and order when I did it. That way it would make it much easier to put them on with. So I got all that. So it should be here, maybe this week, I hope. And I'll get those put on. So it'll be fun.
Good deal.
And a big shout out to Crossbreed. I tore my belt buckle up a few weeks ago out in Arkansas. And it actually, it was when I got back from Arkansas. But, the piece in your belt buckle that actually, when you cinch your belt down, you put the, I don't know what they call it, the centerpiece that fits in the hole to lock it in, broke off on mine. It broke. So,
really?
It did. So I got a hold of our buddies out at Crossbreed and said, hey, help. I'm have to wear a regular belt and I don't like it. And they were good enough to send me a new buckle and the screws and stuff to put it on there with. So I got that the other day, and I am back in business, man. I tell you what, there is nothing like a Crossbreed belt.
I've got one. I guess it's 8 years old now, 7 or 8 years old.
Really?
I think I'm wearing it now. I had to put a new hole in it. They keep saying if I send it back, that they'll put more holes in it for me and trim it. But now really? It's like a badge of honor. I got like 1.5 feet hanging off of the.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm getting down. I'm within 30 pounds of my married weight, so I got 30 pounds to go. No.
Snap.
Let's see where I'm at. 40 pounds. I'm 38 pounds from my married weight. So, and then another 50 after that, and then I should be looking like a normal human. Well, exception of my big fat head, but other than that. So, that got your stuff?
That's got me covered.
I don't have as much as you. You've been busier than I have.
Man, I feel like I've been everywhere. Our trip coming home the other day it took us 9.5 hours, which that's probably the fastest we've ever made it. We stopped one time. I want to see how good the ship. I wasn't pulling anything either, so that helped. So I made it from Warner Robins, Georgia to Jasper, Alabama, and I filled up. We got something to eat, stopped, took off again, and we made it all the way to Crockett's Bluff on the next go. And we did the same thing coming home. So it was quite the quick trip this time. We about got it down to a fine art.
Cool. All right, so I'll jump in here. Church security last 2 Sundays. I think I've had church security like 3 or 4 out of the last 4 or 5 weeks. It's been a lot. Of course, the holidays, and nobody wants to serve on the holidays, but we had some guys step up, and we got a young guy that's out with a new baby, and so I've been covering quite a bit. I thought I was going to be gone all of January, and it ends up I'm going to be going to be here all of January. I should be at SHOT Show right now, but I thought I was taking my parents. My parents were going to be going back to Florida, and I was going to be on that trip, and it's just expensive, and I'm getting really just perturbed every time I go to Vegas. They just really don't really want us there. The hotels want to take your guns away from you, and they putting signs up and they're running metal detectors over you, treating you like a bunch of criminals. And if Vegas wants to be that way, I'm just about to the point where I'm like, I don't need it. I'll just go to the NRA where they love you anyway, uh, and they let you carry your guns. And NSSF needs to get their act together. Of course, they're based up there in New England, so they ain't got a whole lot of sense up there. Not their gun friends who live in New England, but the mindset's totally different from us people that live in free states. We just don't think like that. It's not about hunting. It's not about. It's not even about personal protection. It's about the constitutional right to defend yourself against a state that would seek to take you or your life. And if we don't understand that basic premise, everything else is useless. I mean, you got to buy licenses to hunt, so then is it really a right to hunt? No, there's no right to hunt. It doesn't say that in the Constitution. You have the right to defend yourself against a tyrannical government or foreign forces who want to invade. That is first and primary. Secondly, the right to preserve your own life. That is a constitutional right. So, those are the two big ones. But of course, the first one is that you have the right to defend yourself against a oppressive, tyrannical state or some people who try to run the state. So, I'm getting tired of people compromising on that point and limiting what we can have based upon what they think is reasonable.
I know, right?
Because if our right is to protect us from a tyrannical state, then we should have the right to have the same weaponry that the state possesses. So there's that. But I've got off on my bucket again. Squirrel. Okay, back to where I was at. So I've been doing security at church, and I've been working on some stuff for my parents, some tax stuff, and been working on my own taxes. Been working on what else? Here on the farm, we've had a bunch of limbs down. I've been trying to get the tractors. I got a tractor that's got a dead battery, and I had one that's got a flat tire, and I've been having to use the dozer some. So not a whole lot. It's been so cold and snowy and stuff here this last week. I haven't really done a lot outside other than what I just had to and got back inside so I wouldn't freeze to death. On the gun side, just daily concealed carry. I mean, that's pretty much it. I haven't shot anybody. I went out. Buddy had been barking, my big guard dog, Buddy. He's every once in a while, he just goes nuts. And last night, like 4 times in a row, he was going nuts at the front door. And it was late. There wasn't nobody out. And the moon was bright. You could see all over the place. I mean, I could see 2-3 miles from my house. Went outside, walked around the perimeter of the house, walked out to the edge of the fields, spotlighted around, didn't see nothing, come back in. Boy, he tore into it again. And never could find what it was. Finally, I just sent him to his kennel because he was just going nuts. But seems like he's been going sort of crazy like that. I think he hears something I don't hear. Must be drones or something. But I don't know. That's about it for me. Concealed carry. So normally I always have the Glock 30S on me in my crossbreed, and she's hot and ready to rock. So I'm not going to play around with it. I'm going to put it back in there. Holster, be safe.
Locked and ready to rock.
Yeah. Well, actually, Glocks aren't cocked until you pull the trigger, but I digress. And then when I'm out here on the farm, the Glock 20, Gen 1, we can see she's clean, clear, nothing in the chamber. But I got the loaded mag with black talons in there, ready to do some damage. I probably ought to get some more upgraded ammo to keep in my primary mag. Since that stuff's got to be 25 years old.
Hey, it'll still work.
It should, but it's been a lot of days in the holster, so I think that those rounds have. I've got several in the box that's in the um, ammo can with desiccant packs to keep them dry. They should be in good shape. But that's about that. I'm working on another pistol. Start reaching with my headphones on. This might kill my shoulder because my shoulder's been aggravating me. But looks. I like that sort of mean old style look. Got the carry handle on it. It's a Midwest Industries carry handle, and it's what is this? It's a hardened upper, and it's a PSA lower, 40 round. What is it? PMag, and then the blade, and put a little old light on there, so she's ready to go. So this is one I'm working on. I'm thinking about coloring it, put some kind of color on it. It's got a little hand stop, keep you from putting your hand out in front of it, getting hurt. But I really like it. Midwest Industries carry handle. They're hard to find. I looked on Brownells; they were sold out of all of them. They didn't have any of any brand or type, and so I went around looking around to see if I could find them. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you're talking about your PSA lower. I know Palmetto State's not one of our sponsors, but hey, I feel it necessary that we share good deals when we hear about them. So I don't know if you saw the deals that they're passing around right now because of SHOT. You can get a strip lower for $49. You can get a black bolt carrier for $49. They have the nice. It's not nickel finish, but the silver one. I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name of it. Whatever. But they have it for $89. They got a bunch of good deals, and if you are look loading the cannon, and if you are looking for a pistol, I did a review on YouTube with a Smith and Wesson. Is it Smith and Wesson? M&P Shield. That's what it was. But they have a Shield 9mm for $229. That's a deal.
It is a deal. And the trouble is that I was getting those daily emails, and I was buying stuff like 2-3 days a week.
I know.
I had to turn them off because I thought, man, I'm going to go bankrupt. My wife's going to divorce me if I don't quit buying all this stuff. But, man, they do have some deals on there, that's for sure.
Yes, indeed. They got some good ones for SHOT right now. So, I was watching Professor Paul a while ago. He was live from SHOT Show, and he was at our one of our favorite booths, the High Point booth. They were showing some of the new High Point guns and stuff. High Point's got a new gun they were showing a minute ago that has a threaded barrel on it. It's got on the top of the slide where you can put an optic on it now. And the price point is still $200.
Wow.
$200 hammer.
And I'm still not buying one.
No, not either.
Hey, if that's what you got money for, man, rock on.
And rock on.
Enjoy. Learn how to use the thing. Learn how to clean that thing.
Try to take it apart.
Yeah, you need to have a bucket and a magnet with a telescoping thing because things come flying out of those things when you take them apart. And it's not intuitive exactly how those things go back together. So you need to learn how to clean that thing. Oh.
Did you? Oh, I thought you muted. Sorry.
No.
I was accidentally looking at the YouTube side, and I can see your mouth moving. I'm like, why are you talking? Where'd you go? I wasn't looking at the live feed. We have one of our listeners, he goes by Mr. Anderson, said, finally, I caught the live feed. No more using my imagination.
I hope it was all you expected.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
We probably just lost Mr. Anderson. Mr.
Nah.
Anderson. That was Mr. Anderson? That was
Matrix.
Oh, Matrix, yeah. Mr. Anderson.
Welcome, Mr. Anderson.
Black sunglasses. Black suit.
Josh was listening to us too. He said, I guess we were talking about the high point. He said, or you can buy a shield on sale for $220.
There you go.
Spend $20 more and get a good gun.
Careful now.
Or
a different gun.
a lighter weight gun. Something you can actually carry. Those things are just so big, man.
If I was to ever buy a high point, the first one will be the 10mm carbine. And the second one that I've been promised like 4 times that they were going to ship me, but they never did. But I didn't say that out loud. And then the second one I would buy would be the one that looks like a $1 bill or $100 bill.
Oh, yeah.
You seen the one wrapped looks like $100 bill?
Yes. That's probably what you got in it.
Yeah, that's a drop gun right there.
That's the one you leave in your truck. Take your chances.
Yeah.
In all honesty, though, I would like to have one of the little carbine rifles. Now, those things are
the little 10mm. I would like. I don't know about the others.
I've never seen it in the 10mm. I've seen it in the 9mm, and I've shot a 9mm.
Oh, Kentucky Gun Company's got tons of them. He was telling me last time I was over, they got like 60 of them on the shelf, but or in their warehouse. But they had a good deal on them too. They were, $2 something. It was crazily cheap.
In 10mm?
Yep.
See, I'd like to have one of the 9s just to plink around with it. They're fun to shoot.
You shot it?
Yeah, I've shot one. Yep. One of the guys at my range had one. He had that. He had a Kel-Tec Sub 2000. He had some other little carbine, and he had a Kriss Vector in 45 suppressed. The only one he didn't let me shoot was the Kriss Vector. So they let me play with all the other ones.
Speaking of Kriss Vector, I think they're giving one away tonight. Who is it that's giving that away? Classic Firearms, I think, is giving away they're giving away a Kriss Vector 10mm pistol. Ooh. And Arctic White or something like that. No, Arctic White. What is it? It was Arctic White. It's white or whatever it is. But I would almost buy one of those if it were, the only reason I shot a Kriss Vector full auto at SHOT Show a few years ago. Shot it a couple of times. They have them out there like every year. But shot the full auto, shot the 2-round burst. That's what I want.
A Kriss Vector?
No, a full auto, a select fire, Kriss Vector. I wouldn't buy a Kriss Vector for $1,200 or whatever they're running now if it wasn't select fire, because it's just a 10mm. Because I've shot the full auto, I would never really want the semi-auto. It uses Glock mags. I could use the same mag as my 20, but why? Like the pistol, the Kriss Vector pistol's 5.5-inch barrel. That's a Glock, right?
Right.
And the Glock's a lot smaller. I could actually conceal it, and I could pull it out and shoot as many rounds with it as I could with a Kriss Vector carbine / pistol. But why else buy it if you can't have full auto or a 2-round burst? The cool thing about the Kriss Vector is that the way that cycles is that when you're a full auto, it doesn't rise because of its design. So it's designed as a machine pistol. It's designed as a machine carbine, or whatever you want to call it, machine gun. And the whole purpose of its unusual blocky shape is that when the bolt retracts down, it pulls the gun down and keeps it flat. So when you're shooting, that dude is dead level.
Right.
any semi-auto, it don't really matter because you're not going to cycle fast enough to use that motion, right? That mechanical design that overcomes the barrel rise, and so it's a waste of money. As far as I'm concerned. I mean, if you got to fight, if you shoot semi-auto, I mean, you're not going to get back on target super fast. If you can't shoot, 3 rounds in a second or something. So I don't see the advantage of it if it's not full auto. And the fact is, you can't buy it unless you're uber rich and have connections with the right people.
Uber rich.
Uber rich. I mean, have your own island or something and declare yourself your own state and buy it militarily or whatever, or pay $3,000 a year for a class 3 class 3 license, and pay taxes on inventory that you don't sell because you can't really own it except for to be a dealer. So it's just Reagan really messed us over on that one. I have to say, of all the things I liked that Reagan did, that was that '86 gun ban. That was stupid. That was misguided. That was one of those negotiations to get things he shouldn't have done. And a lot of the uppity up Republicans they're not gun guys. Or most of them aren't. So there's that.
Yeah.
Where were we at? We got way off. I mean, we chased some squirrels tonight, man. All right, we got some feedback. Let's go there.
That's all right. We were talking about some good stuff, though.
Yeah, we were talking about stuff.
You want to do that one?
I was just reading comments, see people were telling us to shut up. Okay.
Oh no, they're chiming right in with us, man.
I don't want to get too far behind. Okay, so we had some feedback. I got an email today from Trent Garman, and he puts his email address in here. It'll be in the show notes if you guys want to buy a gun range. He's trying to sell the Thunderbird gun range in Wichita, Kansas. Says he's a real estate broker listing with a 27,000 square foot gun range in Wichita, Kansas. And he's just wanting to get it out in front of potential national users. I don't know what users. I guess possible purchasers. Any thoughts of how we could do this? Well, I just did it there. Trent, send me a bird dog fee if you sell that thing, and if you are interested in buying the Thunderbird Gun Ranch in Wichita, Kansas, you can find Trent's email in our show notes. So that was Trent. Had another one from Matt Kuda. He says, shout out. Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks for the great content. From a biblical perspective, I'm a fellow believer, podcaster, and gun-toting fellow from North Carolina. We won't hold that from, I guess they're in North Carolina. But my podcast genre is wildlife, and nature photography with a biblical and conservative worldview. And he puts his link to his website, which is pretty much Matt Kuda, CUDA. .com/home/podcast. Enough about me. Truly hope and pray that you guys can stay on the air, spreading the gospel, and enjoying firearms. So yeah, we hope we get to stay on the air. You never know with the way the media and the government's treating us these days.
So I need to talk to him sometime because he does wildlife and nature photography. So, I told you I had a bunch of guys duck hunting with this year. I tell them to kill the ducks and nobody would shoot. So mine and Sean's new joke is we're going to start duck hunting on the front side of the blind and have bird watching on the back. I told these guys, I'm like, you do want to kill these ducks, right? Come on, shoot.
I like that last name, Kuda. That's pretty cool. My uncle had a 60-something Kuda. What was it thing? So 70 Kuda? I know it would set the tires on fire. He would light them up, and they would actually
smoke them.
Fire. It was a bad dude. And then he bought a Corvette. So,
ooh.
and I burnt my calves off because he had those side pipes running down the side of it. And I got out. That was about 6, and I got some brands on the back of I got some little brown spots on the back of my legs this day. That hurt. All right, so that was our feedback. You getting more feedback?
I didn't have any. That was it.
Comedy Corner. What you got for us?
Comedy Corner. This one is another one that our buddy Chad sent to us. So he sent me a whole bunch. So he kept me in stock for here for a little bit. So I figured this one. It's called Dinner Company. A woman invited some people to dinner, and at the table she turned to her 6-year-old daughter and said, "Would you like to say the blessing?" "I wouldn't know what to say," the little girl replied. "Just say what you hear Mommy say," said Mom. The little girl bowed her head and said, "Dear Lord, why on earth did I invite all these people for dinner?"
That's awesome.
I thought that was a pretty funny one.
It is. It's very truthful.
It is. Ain't that the way it always works, though?
Yeah. Kids always let everybody know what you've been thinking.
Oh, yes.
Where are we at? I keep getting lost over here. Okay.
Bible verse.
We're at the Bible verse. 1 Peter 5, verses 8 and 9. And I'm reading as usual from the ESV. So here we go. 1 Peter 5. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him, firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. So as we see people being attacked and maligned, like these kids up there in Covington, Kentucky here, where we have a staged event, an edited film posted by liars in the media, the fake news, who took the whole conversation and the whole event out of context, showing only partial views, thereby making themselves look even more like liars that they are, even more fake news than what the people previously thought. I think that's sort of backfired in their faces. What do you think, Doug?
It's starting to.
I mean, now they're saying, "Oh, these kids are racist. They got blackface on, and they're holding up the white power symbol." Did you hear about this?
Oh, yes.
So they had to back off So they were holding up the 3 sign because the kid was shooting a 3-pointer, not because that's a whatever symbol. They were wearing blackface because it was a blackout night, just like Kentucky when they had a blue night. They have blue face kids and blue. Everybody wears blue. Everybody wears white. For whatever reason, they have blackout night, and so they wore black on blackface. I don't think it was intended to be a racial thing. But I don't know their hearts. But let's give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
Dude, I saw a great one today. It said CNN's next article, and it showed this little bitty kid down on the floor with an adult boot pressing down on his head. And then right beside of it, you see that little kid has got his head laying there, and he's got a boot on his arm, and he's just got it sitting on his head, pushing down. And the caption was like, it's all in the perspective of how you take the picture.
And the people telling the story. And so you got a guy that's been known to lie about these kind of things before with other school kids. At some point, why would you not at least vet the guy before you go out and nationally try to shame and libel these kids in their school? The things that you hear celebrities and these news pundits say are alarming.
Oh, yes.
If we are not heading into the end times, we're getting ready to have another civil war. How that will work out, I'm not sure. But if people don't back off of the hyperbole and the vitriol and the threats against Christians and against people's groups. That's not going to end well for anybody. Civil war is not good for anybody. But as my shirt here says, the tree of liberty has to be refreshed from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots.
Yep.
And that was a very wise man who maybe somebody in our audience knows. Does anyone know who said that? I see some people coming. We'll wait and see if somebody knows who said that. So, but tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of tyrants and patriots. So that's somebody who actually lived through war.
Oh yes.
Revolutionary War, not the Civil War. But there's truth in that, sadly, but it's still truth. And so we hope that we can invert that. The process by which our constitutional writers and founders gave us is through the ballot box, but that has been corrupted and that has been pretty much undermined from all of the things we're seeing, where people who are not citizens of this country are voting in our elections, where monies from foreign governments are going into the coffers of certain Democrat politicians to help them win elections. That I would think is bordering on treason.
We had 3 guesses over on YouTube. One said Ben Franklin, William S. Smith, and Bill Donovan. Yay! Congratulations, Thomas Jefferson.
Winner.
Winners.
Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson's his character's been really attacked a lot in the last 20, 30 years. Well, probably over all the history, but this guy was not the guy that's being portrayed these days.
Yeah.
He was a very bright young man and very well studied. He had some things like his own Bible, which I think was sort of wrong, but he was a believer in God. Now, was he a devout Protestant believer? Probably not, but he was a believer in a creator. He was a believer in God, and he did read the Bible, even though he marked his own up to suit the way he wanted to do it. But I digress. Okay, so the Bible verse, again, sober-minded, watchful. So what are we talking about here? So we need to be watchful for the devil's tricks. So what does the devil always do? What did he do in the Garden of Eden?
Tricked him.
Tricked Eve. How did he trick Eve? He had her think, well, I can be like God if I eat this fruit. And although she knew it was wrong because it was told, you eat this fruit, you're going to die. And the devil twisted the words. Did he say you will surely die? You die right away. Well, and then so she started doubting God's word and taking the word of the devil. So what can we learn? Don't be tricked by the devil. And if you know the word of God, you won't be tricked. Sober-minded. What does it mean be sober-minded? Well, don't be influenced by things that cause you not to be able to think clearly. So don't start creating God in the image that the world does. Like, when you see God portrayed in these movies, it's usually some old guy and wearing white and a white beard, unless it's Morgan Freeman, and then it's Morgan Freeman. But it's a old guy that has all this wisdom and benevolent, and he really doesn't care about your sin and stuff. Don't fall for the fake God created by the media, movies, your own fairy tale stuff that you were taught as a kid, your nursery teachings, Sunday school depictions of who God is. God is who he says he is in the scripture. And so if you want to know who God is, you need to know the scriptures. So when you encounter false doctrine, false teaching by the devil through his surrogates and his children, who are oftentimes in the church, oftentimes in high office, who will take verses and do like the devil did and twist it just a little bit to get you off kilter, to direct you into the path he wants you to go. He always is enticing your wisdom, right? Or your, oh, you're so smart. That's the thing that I find so amazing about the left in this country, is that they always think that they're smarter than Christians. They're smarter than the right. And as soon as you start turning down their ability to debate you with fact, with evidence, what's the first thing they do? They call you a name. They start cussing you.
Get mad.
They get mad, and then they dismiss you because you're not intelligent enough to understand how bright they are. Well, they've fallen for the devil's little tool there, that, oh, they're wiser than we are because they believe this, which is harder to believe than Jesus coming down and dying on the cross to be to be our Messiah, right? Our way to heaven. The things that the links they will go to. Now they're looking for aliens. Are the creators of the universe, right? Aliens are come here and seeded us and taught us the basic things to live on. They can believe in aliens from billions of light years away, but they cannot accept the fact of who God is and who he says he is. And they just can't accept that because their father's the devil. So why we must be sober, we must be watchful. You need to watch what you're putting in your brain. I tell my kids this all the time. You guys want to watch something, you need to be aware of what it is they're trying to sell you, because they're trying to sell you something. They're going to sell you a lie. All these shows, well, all of them except for maybe the Dove Network or somewhere where it's a Christian produced network. And even then, you probably have some oddballs in there. But you always have to be watchful about what you put in your mind, what you put in your head. It includes music, the lyrics to the songs that I listened to as a kid. I don't let my kids listen to that garbage. I'm like, why did my parents let me sing along to this bunch of junk that is totally against what the scriptures say? And so be careful what you put in your mind, because I'll find myself 30, 40 years from, teenage years singing some song, and the kids are like, what are you singing? I'm like, oops, that's a song I shouldn't be singing. But, it gets in your head, it gets in your mind, it becomes part of your filter, right? It becomes the way you start thinking. And I'll watch a movie with Krista. We'll sit down and watch a movie together every once in a while, get on, what is it? We've got Amazon Prime or something. We'll get on there and they'll find an old TV show or find something on the internet. And the amount of cussing that was in films that we watched as teenagers is unbelievable. And the amount of innuendo that I just blew right over my head as a youngster that you see in old movies. You're like, wow, I didn't know that was in there. I didn't realize that. And so a lot of things are more real, I pick up on it a lot more the more I read the scripture. I see what the devil's trying to do in these movies, these TV shows, things like that. And so we have to understand that the devil is looking to destroy us, looking to devour us. He's wanting to destroy the image of God. Okay? And we are image bearers as believers. Well, as human beings, we're created in the image of God. Okay? And so if he can destroy us and make us look nothing like what God had created us to be, if he can make us turn our face all kinds of weird things with things sticking out of our nose and horns on our head and purple hair, and destroy our image to reflect that of himself, of the devil, or of something other than God, he will do that. When I have friends tell me about their tattoos and stuff, and ain't nothing wrong with tattoos. I'm not judging tattoos. That's God's thing. I don't know. In the Old Testament it says don't make markings on your body. that's Old Testament. I mean, I would still think it would sort of apply. And, you know, if you have a tattoo, I'm not saying that, you know, you can't, if there's anything wrong, just realize we're called to be set apart from the world. If we look like the rest of the world, we're not the salt in the world. We're not the light in the world. If we look exactly like every other hedonistic person out there and are trying to look more and more cooler, more and more evil, or whatever than everyone else out there, are we salt and light in the world? If our speech is different than other people's, then that's good. If our speech is like everyone else's, then we're not really separate, right? We're not really different. If we act like the rest of the world, we're told we're aliens in this world. I'm digressing again. It's a squirrel night. I don't know what's going on. So the devil's seeking to devour us. And so how we stop it? So we resist him. So when we're lured, and I tell you guys, if you have a smartphone and you search like anything on the internet, the devil is popping up these images all the time. As a man, well, I'm sure as women too, that you have to say, I don't want to see that, and clear that off and move that out of the way. And so you're all the time having to decide not to be clicking on something you shouldn't be. As an adult, as a teenager, as a child, it's always a decision. If we allow the devil to manipulate us, to move us down that road, if you don't have the ability to stay away from pornography, you need to have your computer set where your wife can see what you're doing. All right. You need to have it set where you can't be tempted to go click on these things. If the same thing with a smartphone, you might need to go get you an old, what was it? What was the brick phone? The Nokia 900 or something. You might need to go an old brick phone. If it's because, you know, the Bible clearly says if your eye offends, pluck it out. Well, it's not literally saying gouge your eye out, but he's saying understand that if your eye is going to lead you to hell, it would be better to pluck your eyeball out, right? If your hand leads you to do something that would cause you to go to hell, cut it off. So what God is telling us, be aware that things will lead you to hell. And that the devil is wanting that. And the devil's wanting to destroy you and destroy your witness and destroy your family and destroy your children and ruin everything he can. And so he's seeking any and every way he can to get at you. And if you aren't on guard, if you aren't looking out for the devil, if you're not keeping your eyes open for how can the devil attack me? Through my children, through my wife, through my friends, through where I go, my work. You need to identify those places where you can be attacked and be ready for it, because it's going to come. If you're doing what God calls you to do, you're going to be attacked. You're going to be you're going to be accused of things that you didn't do. You're going to be in any way possible. The devil's going to oppress you and do all he can through you. But in verse 9, we're called to resist him. Firm in your faith. So if you're in your faith, firm, knowing that God is going to do what he says he's going to do, stay with it. Stay in the scriptures. Stay in your prayer life, right? Keep strong in your prayer life. And know that other people around the world that are believers are facing the same thing you do. So, you know, be transparent before your Christian brothers and sisters. Give your testimony if the opportunity pops up in church or in your small groups or in, you know, men's groups or whatever. Let others know that, hey, I've dealt with this, or I'm dealing with this and I need your prayers, or hey, I've went through this and God had brought me through this, so that they can hear your testimony to encourage them and to give them the faith that, you know, that you went through this and they can endure it as well. And so be very, very transparent, be open to explain that, hey, I messed up here and I need forgiveness, and I'm asking God for forgiveness in this area, so that the devil cannot get a hold of you, because unconfessed sin is a good hold for the devil to get on you. If you don't confess that sin, boy, he's got a lock on that, and he's going to use that to move you this way and that way. Confess that sin, let go of it. The truth will set you free. Confess it, let go of it. Don't let the devil have a foothold. Don't let the devil have a foothold in your household. If you got stuff on the TV or you got stuff that the kids shouldn't be seeing, you shouldn't see it either. Okay? Get it out of your house. I've had to throw books away that I used to love Stephen King books when I was a teenager. I don't know. I just, as a teenager, you always like that stuff. And so I remember as a young father, was laying in bed one night and I had, I don't know how many Stephen King books, but had him on a bookshelf along with all the other books. And I kept having these horrible dreams. And then finally I just woke up and said, God, what is it? And it's just like, he's like, you need to get it out of here. And I'm like, what? And so I go upstairs and I'm just led upstairs. So I go upstairs to where my library was on my books. And I looked and there's the Stephen King books and it's just like they're green. It's like a green lettering. I don't know how to explain it. But it's just like God said, you need to get rid of those. So I grabbed like 8 or 9, whatever, how many books I have is, took them, threw them in the trash can, put it in a bag, took it down and walked. It was trash night. So I took it down to the curb and put it in the trash can, came back up, went back to sleep, never had another dream like that again. But those things that I had in my home were having a spiritual effect. You guys might think I'm nuts, but I'm telling you, that stuff will mess with you. If you have things that are of the cult, if you have things that are not honoring God, that are attacking God, get rid of them. I'm telling you, get them out of your house, get them out of your car, get them out of your workplace, get rid of it. You don't want that stuff around you. It can affect you. People think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, I've been through it, and it will affect you. That's the way it is. So get it out of your life. Don't play around with it. Don't act like you're strong enough to fight it off and all that stuff. And I'm really on a big rabbit trail here, squirrel trail here.
I thought for a minute you were going to say you gathered up all the Stephen King books and took them outside and threw them in the trash can. And when you walked back in the house, they were back on your shelf. Oh, no.
They don't have that kind of power. You should have saw that hill, man. They never made it.
I know, right?
Our house was on Hawkins Road. We had a driveway like this. I mean, even the dogs couldn't hardly walk up it. It was bad. But I'm getting way off subject. All right, so that was the Bible verses. 1 Peter 5 verses 8 through 9. And again, realize that you have an enemy. As a believer, you have an enemy. Well, you have a lot of enemies, but you have the primary enemy, the devil, right? That Satan is out to, as he said in his own, said he's seeking. What is it? Job. God says, where you been up to? And he's like, I'm walking up and down, and back and forth across the earth, seeking whom I can destroy. And so, understand you have a real enemy, and that the battles we fight are not physical; they're spiritual. A lot of these arguments and stuff that I've been blasting Twitter. I gotta ask forgiveness. I've been over on Twitter and I've been hammering the left here lately, and I'm drawing a lot of attention to myself, and so I'm getting a lot of hateful comments and things. But what you have to understand is it's all spiritual, guys. It's a spiritual battle, and I'll quote scripture, and boy, those demons don't like it over there. But know the scripture so that you can refute, you can rebuke them, right? Know the scripture. When they say something, you'll have a scripture that pops into mind. You have that. That's how you answer. You don't answer out your own knowledge. You answer out of the Bible. Jesus even answered the devil out of scripture. I mean, he wrote it, but he answered out of Old Testament scriptures. If you know the scriptures, you can respond the proper way with the word of God. And it's sharper than any two-edged sword. And man, it will scatter those demons. I'm telling you. I use it a lot.
No doubt.
But stay plugged in the word. Stay prayed up. Keep a right relationship. So righteous, prayers of a righteous man availeth much. I'm getting off again, but it's going somewhere. The prayers of a righteous man availeth much. Who's a righteous man? A man who is right with God. So you've confessed your sin, you've turned from your sin, and you're following God, and you're listening to God as your Lord. You know, when we're saved, He's our Lord and Savior. He saved us from death and sin, and He is to lead us. He's our Lord that we love to follow His lead. So if He is to lead us, we are to follow. And again, score bill. Okay, so our main topic tonight. Oh, Doug, you want to jump in here? You got anything?
No, go. You got that one.
I trampled all over that one and backed up over it a couple times there, I think. Let's see. I was looking to see if there's any comments. Okay. You let me know if there's something I need to respond to.
Oh yeah,
main topic. Okay. Main topic. Are you ready for a gunfight, Doug?
I'm always ready for a gunfight.
If you're not ready for a gunfight, why? Why are you not ready for a gunfight?
I'm always ready.
I'm asking the guys out there. Anybody out there? Anybody going to answer? I'm listening. Anybody not ready for a gunfight? All right. So if you're not ready to fight, you're not prepared.
That's right.
Even when you think you're prepared, you're not prepared. Even when you think you've done everything that you can do, you're still not prepared. There's so many layers to a fight, any kind of fight, let alone a gunfight or a knife fight or a stick fight, whatever fight. But you got to be prepared for it. If you're going to carry a gun, you need to know what you're doing with that thing. So what are you going to do about it? First thing is first. I thought I knew all about guns, and then for you guys been around for a long time, we've been doing this for. I'm a firearms instructor. I teach concealed carry in Kentucky. For the guys out here, the girls out here that are new, I teach long range rifle as well. So marksmanship rifle, and so I have been shooting since I was 3 years old, and I can defend that because I have pictures of me with my grandfather shooting at 3 years old. That's when my grandfather took me out, started teaching me how to shoot. So I thought I knew how to shoot. And I could shoot a rifle, pretty good. And I could shoot a shotgun pretty good. But that doesn't necessarily apply to tactical carrying a concealed gun. Does it, Doug? Doug is muted.
It does not. It does not.
And so if you've never been in a gunfight, how do you train yourself to be in a gunfight?
Go to the range.
Well, it's one aspect. Go to the range.
Practice.
What are you going to practice?
What for? At the gun range?
Yeah.
I practice pulling my gun from a concealed carry.
And where did you learn that?
What do you mean? Where did I learn it from? I took a class.
You took a class.
Oh my goodness.
So, if you have never been into a firearms class, and I'm not talking about this is a pistol and you point it there and you shoot. No, I'm talking about a real defensive handgun class or a defensive carbine class or a defensive anything. Learning how to properly run a weapon during an engagement with someone. See, I thought because I watched TV and I'd shot rifles and shotguns, and I knew how to shoot a pistol standing at 50 feet and shooting at a paper target. I thought I knew how to deal with the situation. Until one night, about 2 o'clock in the morning, I get a call from my mother who's frantic about someone is in her driveway. And so I'm like, okay, I'm a gun guy. I grab my shotgun. And I jump in my truck and I drive 4 miles over to her house and pull in the driveway. And here's a truck sitting in her driveway at 2:30 in the morning. And so I roll right up on this dude and I've got a gun. So I think I know what I'm doing. And so I pull up, I turn on a light on there and tell him, get out of the truck. What are you doing here? Turns out he's some hunter that lived 5-6 miles away, decided that he wanted to hunt our land that night. And I'm asking him, why are you sitting in front of my parents' house in the dark with the lights off then? And, well, I'm waiting for so-and-so. Who's so-and-so? And he's like, well, he's out there somewhere. So here I am in the dark with so-and-so that I don't know, wandering around in the dark with a gun, hunting on our land in the middle of the night. And so, Doug. we used to allow people to hunt until this kind of stuff started happening. But it was like, what kind of person comes on your property in the middle of the night and sits in your driveway smoking a cigarette, thinking it's okay? So here I am. This guy comes walking down the dark while I'm sitting here talking to this guy. It could have had the drop on me, shot me easily. If they were nefarious, if they were doing something wrong.
Which they were.
Yeah, I mean, well, they should at least come up and say, hey, we've lost our dogs or whatever. We're trying to find them. And I've had hunters come and say, hey, my dogs came over on your property and we're trying to find them. Just want to let you know it's here. And hey, cool. Get your dogs. Great. Have fun. But to come out in the middle of the night and sit in the driveway and smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, waiting for another partner to come walking out of the dark up on me. So that sent chills up my back. And it wasn't long after that I started getting trained, because I wasn't situationally aware. I didn't even know what that was until I had cold chills around my back when you have a guy walk up on you in the dark and you're not expecting. I don't know if you ever had that happen to you, Doug.
Yeah, I have.
But after that, it didn't happen again, because I went in with lights everywhere and I made my presence known in times 10, and I didn't go alone. And so if you've not prepared for those kind of situations, you're at a disadvantage. You don't want to be at a disadvantage in a gunfight, knife fight, bar fight, whatever fight. Hopefully you're not fighting in bars, but in any kind of fight, you want to have every advantage it's possible. You want to have training. Well, what's training teach you? It teaches you things that people have learned by losing blood and lives. It teaches you how to do things the most efficient way, not necessarily the way your grandfather did it or your Uncle Ted or somebody. It teaches you how to use the tools that you have, how to use this thing called a handgun or a rifle. It teaches you the proper use, the proper handling, safe handling, so you don't shoot yourself or your family members. So get training. It's worth its weight in gold. If you got $1,000, buy a $500 gun and go to a $500 class. It teaches you how to use that gun properly so that you're safe with it. And I've got all kinds of friends. I don't need no training. I know how to shoot a gun. You might know how to pull the trigger. Yeah. You might know how to line up the sights. Yeah. You might know to pull it out of the holster without shooting yourself in the foot or in the side of the leg. But do you know how to properly clear a jam? Do you know how to properly, slap rack and go back into battle under stress, where somebody's going to be watching you for your mistakes and helping you correct and change those mistakes? And then that person's going to teach you how to properly train, not to waste ammunition by standing flat-footed and shooting with your belly hanging out and your shoulders back, but how to properly hold that pistol to be more accurate, how to have a proper grip on the gun where you can hold on to that thing when your hands are slippery and wet. You need to have someone like an instructor who's done this teach you how to handle a gun, how to properly use it. And I don't care. I mean, as long as it isn't some of these guys you see on the internet that would, rolling around on the floor and shooting live rounds into a classroom, as long as they're somewhat certified and well known, do some research. Make sure you're not wasting your money on some dud, and find a good school. Now, I use Bulwarks here in Kentucky, but I've been to other classes. Go to a reputable place, spend the money, and learn. And then comes the practice. So you get trained on a properly handle a gun, threat assessment, all these things that you can learn in a defensive pistol class or defensive carbine class. Whatever it is that you carry, take that gun and learn how to use it properly. Then you practice, and you don't practice standing flat-footed shooting 50 feet. You practice moving with a gun. You practice moving to cover. You practice firing as you move. You practice reloads and having, put dummy rounds in so your gun jams and you have to clear it, and you have to learn how to re-rack it and how to move and change your magazines. All these things you learn in your training that you get, that you pay for. Take that to the range and apply that. Now, some ranges may not let you train like that. You may have to go some places where you have to learn where you can move around, maneuver, and train like this. You may have to, spend more money on a gun membership to a place where you can actually do these kind of movement targets. But you can also do it with dry fire. You can take a SIRT pistol, and you can do it in your own house with a SIRT pistol. Just don't shoot your kids in the eyeball with a laser, but take a SIRT pistol, and you can practice reloads. You can practice rack and everything with a SIRT pistol or a replica pistol or an airsoft gun. Take out the cartridge so you don't shoot your eyeball out. But practice handling the gun, practice mag changes, practice all of that so that you have mind muscle memory and that you can improve your shooting. Practice holding real still with that and breaking that trigger, and just keep practicing that until your shots are tighter and tighter and tighter, so that you're accurate with your gun. You're familiar with your gun. You're not afraid of your gun. You know when it's going to go bang and when it's not, because you're used to that trigger break. You know when that trigger is going to break. You know how to handle it. You know your sights, and you know what the range is on the gun. So training first, practice second. You need to practice regularly. If you don't practice at least once a month, you lose it. You will lose your muscle memory. You'll lose that knowledge of how to handle that gun if you don't go live fire at least once a month. And you can dry fire, at night in your house. So if you have a SIRT pistol or a replica gun, I mean, if you carry a Glock, you can get all kinds of airsoft guns cheap. And you can get, these things are a little expensive, but, I use them in my training classes because, I don't have to worry about shooting anybody like some of these people do in their training classes. Mindset. So when it comes time, are you going to be able to justify shooting someone, a person, a living human being? Are you going to be able to pull that trigger, or are you going to freeze up and do nothing? And mindset, there's several good books out there. Trying to think of who would probably be the first one I would recommend. I would say probably Colonel Dave Grossman probably would be a good book for most men. Good writer for most men. On Combat, he's got several good books in his line, but On Combat probably would be the one I would pick first. And our buddy, where is his book? I'm looking at a bunch of books here on my bookshelf. And here I'm drawing a blank. Where is this book? I know. A Time to Kill. A Time to Kill. Our buddy, and Greg Hopkins. Greg Hopkins' book, A Time to Kill, The Myth of Christian Pacifism, is a great book as a believer that you need to read, and it gives you the justification through the scriptures that we have the right to defend ourselves. We have the right to defend others, and we have the right to defend our country in just wars. And so you have, you need to understand that you're okay to use a weapon to defend yourself, your family, your country, your community, when under attack. We're not going to use that to try to justify going on offense. We're not going to try to take out other religious people, but we're going to use that to defend ourselves. And I'm looking for another book, and I should have grabbed these before we even got started, but it will come to me after a while. I'm just going to keep on plugging away. So mindset. So you need to have the proper mindset. Hey, is God okay with me using a gun to defend myself? And we've had Greg on the show many times, or 3, 4, 5 times on the show. Great friend of the show. Great book. And you guys ought to pick it up. If you don't have it already, make sure that you get a Time to Kill, The Myth of Christian Pacifism, and understand that you are justified scripturally to defend yourself, your family, your friends, your community, and your country. Now, if you understand that, you're not going to have a hesitation when that thing comes at you that you have to decide to shoot or not shoot. You will be prepared mentally for that event. What is other book. It'll come to me. In preparation. So, have you got the right equipment? Have you got the proper handgun? That is what you will use and you will carry and you will have with you all the time. If you're going to be a concealed carrier, if you're going to be a person who is going to use a firearm or use that to defend yourself and your family and your friends, then you need to learn everything you can about it. Purchase the gun, learn how to use the gun, get proper training with the gun, practice with the gun, be ready to use the gun, have the proper equipment to you know keep this gun safe. The safest place for a pistol is on your side in a good holster. Okay, it's not laying on your bedside table. It's not in the glove box of your car. It's not on top of the bookshelf in the kitchen or whatever, on top of the refrigerator. The best and most safest place for a gun is in a holster on your hip or on your appendix if you're one of those weird dudes that want to have some gun pointing down there. Or, where it is comfortable for you to carry it and where it is safe for you to carry it and where it is where you've trained, right? So you don't carry a gun where you've not trained it. So if you're going to carry a gun, first practice with a dry fire. all the drawing techniques, all that stuff. Practice, 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 practice. Empty. Mag out. Chamber cleared. Or with a replica gun until that is rote memory, right? It just, you don't think about it. You reach, you retrieve, you've got your finger all the time and you're sweeping that gun away from your legs. You're sweeping that gun away from your feet. You're sweeping that gun away from your wife who's sitting in the side of the car with you in her car seat until you know how that gun's going to move and keep this other hand out of the way. And you learn all that stuff in training. You'll learn all that stuff. You have a good firearms instructor train you on how to handle the movements of that gun, and that everywhere this barrel goes is a dead zone, right? That's where something can die. And so how to properly move that gun around your body, how to properly place those shots. So prepare by getting a good holster. Prepare by all the things we've already talked about. Buying good ammunition. If you shoot someone with ball ammunition, it's probably not going to ever open up and expand. It's probably going to make a very small wound cavity. So how do you stop people with a pistol? Well, it's really hard because pistols are really weak weapons. They're not that strong unless you got a 454 Casull or something like that, which most people aren't going to be packing in their hip unless you're in Texas. But if you're carrying a gun, that's the weakest firearm of shotguns and rifles and pistols. Pistols are a convenience weapon. They are not a man stopper with a single round. Okay, unless it's a 45-70 Casull or something like that. So you need to have the proper ammunition, because the way you stop people that are trying to hurt you is first with accurate, well-placed shot into a vital zone, the ocular cavity, right up here, the nose, and up here, and the eyes, and the brain, all this, triangle here. First, if you can hit that, that's your first shut them down. And then down the spine, right? So down the spine to the sternum. That is your window that you want to be able to hit accurately at distance, within reason. I mean, you're not going to be shooting defensively at 150 yards unless somebody's out there shooting at you with a rifle or something. But you won't be able to hit that accurately. So you need to have good ammunition that's going to expand, because the way people die is that the wound, and I'm being graphic here, I'm sorry, but this is the way it works. If you want to stop someone, you either have to cut the spinal column, right? Just cut off the brain from the rest of the body so everything gets shut off, switch gets turned off. Brain to down here in the chest. People have had multiple headshots and still survived. One of the guys who does training with the Bulwarks was telling, he's a medic, he's an EMT in Nashville, and he was telling us that there was a man who got shot 21 times, still alive, and made it to the hospital and survived. 21 times, guys, of a handgun. So if you don't have proper shot placement, then they can keep in the fight. And if they're on PCP, some kind of drug, they may not even feel these wounds.
Makes it
So
even worse.
yeah, what stops it is they lose enough blood that the body can no longer move. So the heart's pumping all the blood out, and the way to do that, you have a big hole. The guys at Bulwarks, most of those guys carry 1911s and 45 caliber because big holes make more larger wound channels, and the defensive rounds, which have hollow points and open up, mushroom up. You've seen bullets that open up. So what's the advantage of that is it's a big wound channel, a big wound cavity. It goes in and it cuts a bigger hole. So you're thinking about you're really trying to drill holes in that person to cause the blood to come out faster. I know it's really graphic. I'm sorry for you guys that are queasy or any ladies in the audience and children. I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to shock you. I'm just trying to explain how these things work. If you're going to be in a gunfight, you want to stop that threat as fast as possible. So that might mean multiple rounds into the vitals, the heart, up and through the brain and the lungs. But pretty much, from here to here and about that wide, right? That's the way you're trying to shut that person down from whichever angle. So you need to practice trying to shoot that narrow shot. And you want to impact that with a bullet that's going to stop it. So buy good ammunition. Don't buy whatever's on sale, Blazer aluminum cased ball ammo. That's not going to get the job done. It's probably going to zip right through unless it hits a bone. And it'll make a hole, but it's not going to be a devastating wound that's going to allow a lot of blood flow. A lot of times, in high speed rounds, like a 223 ball, it zips through. Unless it hits a bone, it's going to zip right through someone, right? Zip through, and it's going to be so fast it almost cauterizes the wound. So if you're going to use rifle rounds, use if you're using 223, I would go with a 77 grain bullet that has more of a not a ball ammo, but something that's going to be a fragmenting, or it's something that's going to be like a hunting type round that's going to expose more flesh, tear up more things. So getting away from the gruesome. So you're going out, you're going to get properly trained. You're going to go out, you're going to practice what you've been trained. And then every year you're going to go back and get trained on something new. So you're going to get trained on a good thing to learn is medical. You need to learn how to patch a hole in yourself, patch a hole in your family members, patch a hole in your friends or whoever's with you if something happens, or even patch a hole in the person that you shot if you think he's no longer a threat. If you desire to try to save that person, that's your call. You're not legally required to do that most likely, but know your laws in your state. But if you can learn how to use a tourniquet, if you can learn how to plug a hole and someone, put pressure on it, apply pressure dressing, because the same things I was talking about, putting holes in other people to try to stop them. If you get holes in yourself, you got to stop that blood from coming out. If you don't, you're not going to last very long, and you won't make it to the hospital. So learn how to apply a tourniquet. I carry a tourniquet on me every day, even here in the house. My wife thinks I'm crazy, I know, but I carry a bleed out kit in my pocket because what? I've got a gun on my side. Should I do something stupid and shoot myself, I have the ability to, hopefully, if I don't pass out, plug the hole. My son knows how to apply tourniquets because what? I took him to a class. I took him to class and let him learn how to plug holes. You can take most kids that are responsible, responsible teenage years to a gun class. They will let them learn just like you. And if they learn how to shoot properly from the beginning, they don't have so much to have to unlearn like I did. So training, practice, mindset, preparation. The training, again, don't just get pistol training, get first aid training, applying tourniquets, applying pressure dressings, clearing airways, putting in, you can learn all this stuff. You can go and you need to. If you're going to carry like I always say, if you carry a hole puncher, you need to have a hole plug kit, right? You know how to stop the bleed. Third thing, we're down to number 6 now. Is your family ready? So say you get into a fight. When I go into a restaurant, my children know not to sit down until I decide where I'm going to sit.
Yeah.
So whoever carries the gun decides who sits where. And my friends that go out to eat with us on a regular basis, they know we don't sit down until Troy decides where he's going to sit it. Because where am I going to sit? I'm going to sit where I can see everybody, where I can see the door, where I can see potential threats. Because I'm the dude with a gun, not because I'm bragging. I'm the one that's going to be responsible to defend everyone else with us. So my children know they'll walk up and they'll stand at the table and wait until Dad decides where he's going to sit. Once I decide where he sits, everybody else sits down. That's important, that you know that you're situationally aware, and it's important that your children are situationally aware. And that my kids don't live in fear. They don't live in fear at all. They are situationally aware. They are all the time looking. Said, Dad, you see a guy in the corner? And so I'll take a look at him and I'll evaluate. Is he a threat or not a threat? If he's not a threat, I'll say, he's all right. Don't worry about it. If he is a threat, I'll say, well, just keep your eye on him. And so I can trust that they will watch people behind me. They'll keep an eye on it. My wife will say, hey, did you notice that in the parking lot? If you expect your family to be prepared, they will be prepared. And you don't want to make them afraid, but you want them to be aware. And so play games with your kids. If the little kids, hey, let's see how many red cars we see on the way to church. Hey, let's see how many blue hats you see on people when you're walking through the mall. Let's see how in Kentucky that could be like zillions.
That's everybody.
Kentucky blue, UK. But just do these things so that the kids are looking at something besides their phone, that they're looking at something besides, clouds in the sky. Not that there's anything wrong with clouds in the sky, because there might be a drone up there. But if they're looking at something else, that they're noticing things, that they've got their eyes moving around, that they're not locked in just doing one thing, because you want them to have that situational awareness. So one thing that we are trying to get through to our kids, it's hard. It's hard. But first time obedience. I mean, our pastor really harps on that. But, when you tell your kid to do something, they should do it right then. They shouldn't be back talking you and mouthing you and asking you why and whining. They should do it right then. There's a reason for that, because we're called as a believer to be obedient the first time. When God calls us to do something, we should do it the first time. As parents, we need to teach our children that. And this applies in this case. So when we tell our kids, y'all need to go to the car, you don't want them saying, why? What's wrong? And start looking around. They should just get up and go to the car. If you're out somewhere and you say to the kids, I want y'all to go to the bathroom, you don't need them arguing with you. If you tell your wife, go to the bathroom, or you tell your wife, take the kids to the car, she shouldn't start an argument with you. She should understand that there's a situation, there's a reason that you want to get them out of the way. You want them out of harm's way should something break out. And you're doing that for their safety. And they need to trust you, and they need to understand that when you say things, they're for their good. The same way as when God tells us things, it's for our good, right? So I'm not saying I'm God to my family or anybody else, but I'm telling you, first time obedience, that when your children are told something, they should understand that there's a reason behind it. And I will explain later, just like God will explain later, or you will understand later, why we have to go through the things we go through, or why we're told to do things that don't make any sense to us. But you need to have that kind of relationship, that kind of understanding with your children and your wife, that, they're not going to get offended. They're going to start having a fit in the middle of the floor, kicking and screaming and throwing a fit. When you tell them to do something, there's a reason behind it. And so they should understand that Dad said go, or Mom says go, then go. We'll explain later. We'll figure it out later. Family plan. Do you have a plan? Say it's 3 o'clock in the morning. The kids hear something breaking in the house. What should they do? What should your wife do? Do you have a plan? What's going to happen? Who's going to have guns, and who's going to be gathering kids and putting them in a safe spot? You should have a plan. If some threat comes from this direction, what are we going to do? And explain that to the kids. And it's not to scare them. It's just say, hey, if someone comes in this and we hear an alarm go off, the alarm starts sounding, what do you want them to do? Have the kids move into the bedroom with you? Have the kids go into their room? Are you going to go in the room with them? Are they moving? Are you moving? Who's moving? It's up to you, but you need to figure out how to make that happen, and so they know what to do. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to happen perfectly. I mean, nothing's going to happen perfectly. Things change and something like that. But you want your kids out of the pathway of your potential gunfire. So you want them under, behind, down low, on the floor, in a closet behind stuff, right? You don't want them standing up, walking down the hallway with you. You want them hurrying and getting into the room, hurrying to get in your room, whatever, so that you can go and approach the threat or the possible threat, whatever it is. Shelter. So you're going to teach your kids, hey, if this happens, you're going to shelter here in your room in this spot. So I know where to find you. And you're not going to say a peep unless I give you the code word, right? And so you're going to give them some code words. Say, hey, if I come in the room and I don't say this word, you stay right there. You don't move, right? If someone comes in the room and says something, don't you answer, right? You want them to understand this is how it's going to happen. This is how it will happen if it happens. So you want them to do this. And the retreat. So if you tell your kids, hey, leave, they know where to leave to. If you tell them to leave the house, where is that spot that you've arranged? Is it at the cars? Is it in the garage? Is it at the neighbor's house? If there's a fire, if you tell them, hey, you go to this point and call 911, you need to have those retreat locations. So you have a place for them to shelter. If you tell them to shelter, they know where to go. If you tell them to retreat, where should they go to? That means leave the house. If something's so bad they need to leave the house, where do you want to go then? Where are you going to find them at when everything's over with? Or where will they be safe at if something happens? Okay. So those are topics we're going to talk about tonight. I mean, it's a little bit all over the place as usual. Doug, jump in here. Don't let me hog the show.
Oh no, I was sitting here listening and talking to the guys on the YouTube side that were chatting with us.
Yep.
And a lot of them agree too. Yeah, I think it was Bill said a while ago. You were talking about when you tell your wife or kids, get down, go to the car or whatever, and you say it with that voice. He said he called it the dad voice. I think is what he called it. when the dad voice cranks in, they know to get down. And you're talking about when you go into a restaurant and stuff. My kids are the exact same way. They know when I walk in, there's certain places in that restaurant I will not sit. And if we get to the table, there's places at the table I won't sit. I'm not going to sit with my back to the door, or I'm not going to sit with my back to a window. I just ain't going to do it. I've even asked the waiter. I'm like, hey, can you move me someplace else? Because I am out in the middle of the open right here, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying for the food. You're paying to be there, so they need to put you where you want to be at. I mean, you may have to wait a little while to get something that you want instead of being stuck right by the front door or something. But,
see, people are getting crazy around down here in Warner Robins here lately. We had like 3 robberies this past week. One of them was at a flash food, broad daylight, at the gas station. First thing in the morning, like 8:30 in the morning, a dude armed robbery right then. People getting gas and the whole 9 yards. Like 2 days later, they robbed a Subway at lunchtime, middle of the day, broad daylight. No, they have no problem. So you better be ready.
No, and they need their money for their drugs, man. They gotta get it.
Exactly.
So you never know when you're going to be selected. Who was it said that? You never know when you're going to be selected. That Cooper? Jeff Cooper said that? I can't remember. I think I've heard Paul Markle say that before. But you never know, when, where something's going to happen. I've had things happen first thing in the morning. You're like, what in the world is going on here? So, at church and stuff, I had things early in the morning. People just roll up and start acting stupid. And you got to be ready for that stuff. And you just never know when that's going to happen. But if you're always prepared, if you've always got a plan, if you've always, got yourself in this, set up the same way every day, and you've practiced and you've got training and you've got the mindset, the preparation, and your family understands what their role is, then you're good to go. And so, my wife is a carrier. She carries her gun. Now she doesn't necessarily carry the way I do, but she's got my back. If I need her to back me up, she can back me up. I love that. Now, she didn't want to for many years, but she's seen how things are in the world. And she has decided, I need to carry, because if you're not with me, I need to be able to defend the kids, keep the kids safe. And so, I think it was just her. She wouldn't necessarily carry, but she carries because she loves the kids and she doesn't want anything to happen to the kids. And now she's able to, help me. Should I need backup? Should I not be able to see another threat? She's there for that. And so, you need to work that out with your family. Now, your wife may not be that way, or your husband may not be that way, whatever the situation. But you have to love them irregardless, and you're the one that chose to do this. You can't force other people to make that mindset. You can't force other people to go to the train. I mean, I guess you could force them or threaten them or whatever, but you're not going to get any kind of help in that way. You need to let that be something that is something that they desire to do. If they don't desire to do it, you're just going to create problems. But they should understand, if you're going to take on that role, that you need their support and you need their understanding, and they should understand that this is for their protection. You're not doing it to be macho or Amazonian or wherever, if you're a woman, but you're doing it because you care and you love them and you want to defend and protect them from those that would seek to harm them. And we know that the scriptures clearly say the devil wants to destroy you and wants to kill you. So we clearly know there's a threat. It may not feel like a threat when you're in Bible Belt, USA, but the threat is always there.
I had a guy. I was talking to a guy the other day. We were talking. He was talking about getting his got his carry permit and stuff. And I was like, "Oh, so you carry now?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I do." We got to talking for a minute, and he said something about he doesn't carry one in the chamber. I'm like, "Why not?" He said, "Well, I just don't feel comfortable enough with it to carry. Put one in a holster and carry it."
And that's why you need training.
Exactly. You need training. And I told him, I said, if you ever had to pull that and pull your gun, you're going to be a statistic because they are going to kill you.
Yep.
Pure and simple. I mean, that's just the way it is. I went to a training one day for concealed carry, how to pull from concealed carry and shoot. And the instructor, who's a friend of mine, made it very clear. Most gunfights last about 3 seconds, period. And if you can pull your gun and make a well-placed shot in a second and a half, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win.
Yep. Or even 2.5 seconds. If you can identify the threat, and if you can pull your gun safely and put it on target and pull the trigger, on shot, within 2.5 seconds, you're most likely going to win. If nothing else, if you're moving too, I mean, we train that you need to move as you're drawing. So you're not going to stand still. You're getting off the X, is it called. You're going to move from the position you're at to another position, which is going to cause them to have to react to that, which adds time to you. But if you develop that into your training, that you're moving as you're drawing, then it's going to give you the advantage because you can either move forward towards them or away from them, but you're always going to be moving at an angle away from, left, right, whichever you decide to do. If you're up against a wall, you're going to have to go the opposite direction, or you don't want to bang into the wall. But you need to train moving. That's why we said earlier that you're going to go get the classroom training at a good school like Bulwarks or whoever is in your area. There's some really great schools. John Farnham's got a great school. Of course, Thunder Ranch and all these guys have got some great schools out there. What's the guy down in Tennessee? Yeager has got a school down there. There's all kinds of schools around the country that will teach you good defensive handgun, defensive carbine classes, defensive shotgun classes. So, when you're at home, you should have a shotgun as your defensive gun, or a AR or some kind of gun that has lots of rifle bullets, as long as you can safely shoot them in your home area. Probably a shotgun for most people, because you don't want over penetration of the rifle rounds. But realize that training will take away the fear. Yep. Training will take away the hesitation of carrying a loaded round in the chamber. Yep. And so if you don't get that training, you will have that mindset, and your wife will have that mindset, or whoever else is in your family that is carrying. You want them to be trained, and not necessarily by you. Have them get good quality training just like you got. Don't try to train them and save a buck. You need them to go and experience it for themselves and learn what needs to be learned. You're not going to remember all that stuff to train them unless you keep going back to class regularly. You need to go every year to at least one training class, if not two, as much as you can afford. Instead of buying another gun every year, or two guns or three guns, spend it on some training. Learn how to shoot that gun properly and get lots of practice so that you keep that memory. All right, so we're going to wrap up the main topic. Anybody over there have any questions? I know we lost a couple guys that had to go eat or something.
Yeah, no, they're just listening.
Yep, good deal. All right, so we're going to switch over and thank our Patreon supporters. We have a great bunch of guys, and I think we got a gal or two in there that support us on Patreon, and we really appreciate them. We're doing a drawing once a month for some swag, and this month we have, I promised a knife, and so we have the Battle Horse knife little holster in the friction folder. And for the life of me, I've forgotten the name of it, but it is a cool little knife. They just came out with these not long ago. It's a nice size, fits in your hand well, and then folds up. And you can drop it in your pocket. And this one comes with a little leather sheath to keep it. So you can just drop it in your pocket, have it handy, or you can put you some paracord through it and carry it as a neck thing if you want to.
That's nice.
It's a nice little knife. It's a very expensive knife. Battle Horse knives are not cheap. For you all who know, they are handmade. These things do not come from China. They're handmade knives, and their factory burnt up about 2.5 weeks ago. And they just posted a video yesterday that they're back up and running. They lost quite a few knives, quite a few blades, and some materials. They lost some equipment, but it was they got it all replaced, and they got the building rewired. They painted the place, and it's back up and going. So we are happy. They are fellow believers, and they have donated a knife or two to me. I've got another knife somewhere that I've misplaced, but this thing right here, this little knife is about $130 for the knife, and then this little leather thing, I think it's $15 for it. So we're talking about a $150 gift that's going to be given away tonight. And so let me click over here and drum roll. And tonight, or this month's winner is rolling number 2 and number 3. This month's winner is Steve Stone. Buddy Steve.
Oh, snap. He's not on here tonight.
Oh, Steve's not. He's probably already in bed. He has to get up early in the morning. And I thought Tim would have won, but now. So if you got Tim Kim is our Hall of Fame guy. He's giving us a very nice gift every month, and we appreciate that. And Steve Stone is a gold sponsor. Shane Copeland, Chuck Shettle, and Chuck was last month, wasn't he? And he was November's, wasn't he? Chuck won in November. And Michael Sheldon, Michael Island, Nick Kostick, Michael Pelletier. And so we appreciate those guys and gals that give to us. If you'd like to give, so I'll be sending this out to Steve. Steve, if you're listening or watch it later, I'll be putting this in the mail to you along with a bunch of swag. So you'll be getting that. We had an order from one of the listeners tonight, and so that'll be shipping out in the morning. We sell patches and stickers. If you want to help us out, you can buy some patches and stickers. If you want to support us through Patreon, you go to patreon.com/God and Guns. So that's all of that. Other ways you can support us, join the NRA. Some of you guys have joined the NRA. I got a check in the mail, so we appreciate that support. So join the NRA. Sign up for DeVore. Everybody's over at DeVore. Send us money if you guys decide to buy something after you use our link. All these links are in our show notes on our website, which is currently having problems that Doug might have time to work on when he gets back from Arkansas. And Laser Activated Shot Reporter. Use the coupon code GANDG and get 10% off of anything in the store. Hoplite Armor. If you need body armor, our buddy Lyman Bishop at Hoplite has got it for you. Check it out at Hoplite Armor. and use our link, and they'll send us some love. Zija. Zija is what I take to help me lose weight, help me feel good, and get rid of the inflammation in my body. It helps control blood sugar and all that stuff. If you want to know more about Zija, just go to godandguns.myzija, ZIJA.com. And you got the next.
Crossbreed holsters. Like I said earlier, Troy carries in a Super Tuck Deluxe. I also carry in a Super Tuck Deluxe, and I have one of those holsters for a couple different guns. Also, there's one of the ones that I have my Glock in. That's a drop slide that attaches to your belt, which is also have a crossbreed belt. So that works really nice. If no matter what you're carrying, and probably even a high point, if that's what you have, Crossbreed probably makes a holster for that. Go check out our buddies at crossbreedholsters.com. Use a promo code GNG and get a discount on Troy and I just for listening to the show and using our promo code. Also, Axelson Tactical. If you are looking for a high quality AR, handcrafted pistols, knives, the backpacks that they make, they just have a lot of stuff out there. High quality guns. The family are really, they're really down to earth. You can sit and talk to these guys. They are super nice. Jeff and his family make a high performance rifle. So if you want to get a good gun, go check these guys out at Axelson. Their new site is axelsonusa.com. Also use our promo code God and Guns over there, and they will also give you a 10% discount just for listening to the show.
Did you see the new holsters that Crossbreed has?
I did. I saw it a couple days ago.
The Reckoning. The Reckoning, you can wear it inside the waistband or outside the waistband. You can change the clips out to be whichever way you want it to be. And I am looking forward to getting one of those dudes and trying it out, because I think I would like to have an outside the waistband holster for my Glock 20 and 21. They're the same pretty much footprint, so I can use it for either one. So I am looking forward to trying that out. Also, Interius Alliance, we are Interius Alliance Life member, and if you guys, and we're also Interius Alliance Press or Media. I guess we're called Media member. One of us and who was it else? Marty, Talking Lead, and then Birdman.
Yeah.
Birdman's probably number one because he's like right there, and then. We joined, and then Marty joined after us. So right now, Crossbreed Holsters is giving away a $250 gift certificate too if you go in there and subscribe to their mailing list. So you might check that out. So Interius Alliance is a partner of ours, and they are a band of brothers and patriots and first responders, and they are all working together to support each other and to support some great charities. Ron Bellon's been on the show several times. You guys know Ron, and he's got Sal, Special Operations Wounded Warrior Project, and there are several other charities that we had some of those guys on like right before Christmas. So you guys can check it out. Go to InteriusAlliance.com. You'll find out all about it. All right, our NRA Armed Citizen, Doug, what we got?
Our NRA Armed Citizen is the Armed Citizen Extra. A security guard fought through a debilitating blast of pepper spray to defend his post. A prospective burglar pepper sprayed the guard and tried to rob the business, whereupon the security guard shot him. The intruder was transferred to a nearby hospital with serious injuries. And that was First Coast News in Jacksonville, Florida. December the 6th.
Wasn't too long ago, was it?
I'm telling you, like I was telling you a while ago, you know, this little knothead that's running around robbing all these little stores and they go to the Dollar General Stop and Rob like once a week. He's going to be in there one of these times, and there's going to be somebody in there that ain't going to take it.
Yep.
And he's going to run into the wrong dude at the wrong time. It's going to end bad.
He's going to pay with blood.
He certainly is.
All right, you got anything else? We're going to wrap this thing up.
It's good, man.
Anybody else over here have anything? Got Bill Donovan, John Atkinson. Who else we got over here? Just those two guys. There's Mr. Anderson, Brian Fawcett. I probably mispronounced it. Facet. He placed an order with us today.
Did he? Good deal.
Yeah, so appreciate that. It'll be out in the mail. And anybody else over there have any questions? We got like 10, 12 people watching right now.
Oh, yeah.
So we had 14 there
Matthew
at one time.
Smith.
Matthew Smith. All right, Matthew.
Good night, Matthew. He said he's fixed to go to bed too.
Yeah, it's getting late for all of us. So we're going to wrap this thing up. Send your feedback to Troy at GuyandGunsPodcast.com or
Doug at GuyandGunsPodcast.com.
Please tell your friends about us. Leave us an iTunes review and like us on Facebook at Facebook.com/GuyandGunsPodcast. Subscribe to us and follow us on YouTube. And click on that little bell so you get notifications every time we put up a new video or going to go live. Facebook.com/GuyandGunsPodcast. Find us over there and like us, please. Send it out to your friends as well. Twitter at God and Guns Pod, and I'm over there under my own account so I don't defame the show. Instagram, check us out on Instagram. I've not put much out there lately. I think I put a snowstorm. I think is the last thing I put out there. MeWe, find us at MeWe, and that's our backup place. If we disappear from Twitter and from Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff, I found us a backup for YouTube. I'm applied to see if they will let us put our shows over there as well. So we're trying to get backups in case the left comes hammering down. So our website it's partially up. I mean, it's there, but it's like it's just like text. It doesn't have any of the HTML stuff for the pictures and all that stuff, Doug, if that makes any sense to you.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what we got going over there, and then a lot of the links don't work, so we've got to figure out what's going on there. And we seem to always keep having these problems. I don't know what's up. Well, until next time, Doug, have a blessed week.
And keep your guns close, but keep your Bible closer.
Good night, guys. We appreciate you watching live and comments, and thanks for all y'all hanging out with us. And if you got any comments, snide remarks, things, just let us know about them.
Hey, speaking of snide remarks, before we go, I just posted a thing on my Facebook a few minutes ago. I recorded a clip off of Fox News with our buddy, what's her, Cortez, whatever, that New York congresswoman that can't keep her mouth shut. Buddy. I know. But the one that can't keep her mouth shut.
Yeah.
So she's on TV a while ago talking about that there should be no billionaires ever allowed to be billionaires until they fix the ringworm problem in Alabama.
I didn't know there was a ringworm problem in Alabama.
Didn't either, until people get adequate health care to take care of ringworms in Alabama. So if I posted earlier, if you're one of my Alabama buddies, please take yourself down to the clinic if you have insurance and get yourself checked for a ringworm outbreak.
Can't you get that stuff at Walmart? I mean, over the counter?
Dude, yes. I'm like, what is she talking about? She is so ignorant. I'm like, she gives you so much material. It's just
she's keeping herself in the news. I think that's what she's after. I think she's after keeping herself in the news and distracting us from what's really important. I think that's what it's all about. I think she's like I don't know, like some kind of a little fairy running around just driving everybody crazy. But I think it's just that for that purpose, because she doesn't have enough brains to actually be there.
No,
she has to be just a distraction.
I don't know, but I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
I mean, nothing she says is factual.
No, nothing, not a thing.
I mean, everything she says is always, well, that's enough of that. Good night, guys. It's late.
Good night, everybody. Y'all have a good night.
We'll talk to you later. Bye.